What is going on, y'all? Welcome to the Mission Ready Men briefing right here on the SHR Media Network, where we are training up warriors, not weaklings. Today's Thursday, October 23rd in the year of our Lord 2025. And this is where we come to get equipped to stand firm, speak truth, and fight back against a culture that is trying to steal your faith, your family, and your freedom. Because we are in a spiritual battle. It's not just political. And this battle never, ever takes a day off. So we're done pulling punches. The gloves are off and we are getting after it. So be sure to follow us on all the socials at Mission Ready Men on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Truth Social, Getter, TikTok, all of them. And be sure to subscribe to our Rumble and YouTube channels. I just checked YouTube. We are at 659 subscribers. So thank you all very much for that. And if you want to show everyone that you are in this fight, grab your gear at missionreadymen.com, click Shop 7 Armors, and check out all the great gear that we have there. All right, y'all, it's go time. And there has been so much, so much I want to talk about. I thought I had everything prepared, and then we got the news today about or I heard this morning about another trucker who killed 3 people, and he was drunk. And of course, he was a commercial driver's license holder in or out of California. And I believe this happened in California. And then we just got the news that we crossed $38 trillion in debt, even though we just hit 37 a few months ago. And the interest payments on that could reach up to 14 trillion in the next few years. So, I mean, that is completely unsustainable. So we got to figure that out too. And just all kinds of news that has been popping up. It's it's almost like I shouldn't even bother preparing for a show and just get up here and wing it. But we do have some things I want to talk about. So we're going to get into it right now. Is it time? Is it time? And I know I'm going to get into a lot of trouble for this, and I don't really care. But is it time to ban Islam? I'll just let that marinate for a bit. Islam has become kind of an evergreen topic on this show. Islam is at war with us and with everyone who is really not Muslim enough for them. We saw that with the way they treated Palestinians who they suspected, Hamas suspected of collaborating with their enemy. And the way things are going, over in Europe, the way things are going here in states like Minnesota and Michigan, Texas, Florida, every mosque at this point is a bunker from which they can plan and launch their attacks. And as I said, I know that I'm going to get into some trouble for this, but it is what it is. And it's something that we have to talk about. Uncontrolled immigration. I mean, we saw during the Biden years, we saw who knows how many people, how many fighting age Muslims crossed the border illegally. At least one of whom that we saw on camera who was on the terror watch list. And who knows how many that crossed that we didn't catch on camera. I mean, it was ridiculous. And so we had the uncontrolled illegal immigration. We have all kinds of mosque construction going on, public calls to prayer in English villages all over the UK, and to a certain extent here in this country as well. 6 times a day, starting at, I believe, 5:30 in the morning, if I remember correctly. In the UK, they've taken over old abandoned churches and have used those churches to broadcast that call to prayer. I think I have that here. Let me take a look. I got so many, so many videos that I want to show you guys, and I don't know if we're going to get to them all, but let's take a look at this one to start. And it may be kind of hard to hear. I'm going to see if I can turn it up, but check this out. That's enough of that. That is the sound that Barack Obama at one point called the most beautiful sound he's ever heard. And then we were supposed to believe that he wasn't a Muslim. Okay. Islam is not just a faith. I would say that it's not even a faith. It is a death cult. It's a political project. It's a political ideology. And when you look at the history that we have with Islamic terror, when you look at the history that we have with just going all the way back to Thomas Jefferson, the history that we have with Islam and their quest for conquest. The fact that nobody is even willing to bring up the notion of banning Islam is sad. And you can call it xenophobic, you can call it Islamophobic, all you want, but the fact is, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. The people who are teaching Islamic law and Islamic doctrine are saying everything out loud. I think it's Maya Angelou who has the famous quote, "When people tell you who they are, believe them." They are not shy. In fact, let's just go ahead and get into it, because they are not shy about their plans. They are not shy about what they intend to do. And I think I might have played this one before, but I have a few others that I want to show you. But just take a look at this.
We are buying these churches. We bought 3 churches so far, converted them to masjids, and now we have one we are buying with a school to make it, because we have to serve the same people. The people who were part of that community, one day they will be Muslims.
One day they will be Muslims. Not here, but this is their plan.
So we'll make it into a masjid and an Islamic school for our children and their children, inshallah. 100 years ago, they invaded the Muslim world and they built missionary schools and destroyed Islamic schools and masjids. Today, We bring the favor back, turn their churches into masjids and their schools into Islamic schools. Bring the light of Islam to here.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say no. I am not gonna allow that to happen. They're not shy. This is what they want to do. And he's that one was one of the mild ones. I got a few more that I want to show you guys that are just, it's obvious. And the fact that we allow this to continue is baffling to me. Absolutely mystifying. This is a compilation, and I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's over 2 minutes long. But I encourage you to take a look at it because, again, they're not hiding it. And they'll say, oh, these are just the extremists. This is not what real Islam is. No. This is real Islam. This is absolutely real Islam.
It is from our religion that we have to hate them for the sake of Allah.
Al-adawa, enmity and hatred, meaning we're enemies. Let's not beat around the bush. We don't love each other. We're not on the same page. We are not friends. Does that make sense? We are enemies.
The kuffar. We hate the kuffar for the sake of Allah. Because why? Because they disbelieve in Allah.
Loving the Muslims and hating the non-Muslims. Being loyal to the Muslims and not being loyal to the non-Muslims.
To keep fighting the Christians and Jews until they give jizya. So it's compelling them to give jizya. This shows you clearly that it's about forcing people to become Muslim.
When you're reading the Quran and you see that they are calling the Jews monkeys and pigs, yeah. This is in the Quran. I know that the people would not understand, they would not maybe, no, come on now, that's not, it is.
Yeah.
Now, I would tell you why this is dangerous. It's not about just insulting the Jews. Forget about this part for a second. It's about dehumanizing them.
Yeah.
And when you dehumanize somebody, that's the first sign of committing genocide against them, because it's easy to kill because they're not human.
I mean, they are not shy. They are not, and one of these, it may be in the next clip I'm going to show you, one of them actually says, we're not shy about it. Yeah, this guy. Listen to this guy.
Here. Why am I in America? The Prophet ﷺ's companions left Mecca to go to a land that had no Muslims. We are in this country purely for the sake of Allah. The moment you make this intention, you will look at things different. People will meet you different. How could it be that your co-workers know you as a Muslim for 10 years, not once you presented Islam to them? You don't know why your purpose is here. All you guys together, we are in this country for Allah.
As we're here living in the US, what is our role now? What is the way forward? Let me just quote for you an ayah of the Quran, and I'm going to try to encapsulate it. Allah is saying, do not obey the disbelievers. Don't yield to them. And then He gives us the process of what to do next. وَجَاهِدْهُمْ بِهِ جِهَادًا كَبِيرًا. And so make jihad against them.
What is your duty as a member of the Ummah now that you are also an American? It is our physical jihad duty to fight the entire earth until we enter it into the Ummah.
It's their duty to make jihad. And the so-called peaceful Muslims that they say are out there who don't really believe this, they're not following Islam. It's that plain and simple. It's that plain and simple. And when it comes down to it, when push comes to shove, if there ever were some type of conflict, What do you think they're going to do? Do you think they're going to side with the infidels against their brethren who may behead them? Of course not. Absolutely not. Every mosque, every Islamic school is a bunker from which they can plan and launch attacks. And you may think that's extreme. You may think that's whatever you think. It's the truth. It is absolutely the truth. You can deny it all you want, but there it is. And I defy you to prove me wrong. Go ahead, try. Just because it hasn't happened yet, which it has, but the left will say they're just here to be peaceful and whatever. Islam is not a religion of peace. And the fact that George Bush said that the day after 9/11 was one of the biggest mistakes he could have made in this war. And make no mistake, they are at war with us. You heard it. I played it for you. It's their duty. People say I'm Islamophobic, whatever. This is what's happening right now is all part of their plan. Now, here's what I think. I think we need to ban mosques. I think we need to ban compounds like Epic City and the other ones that I've spoken about in the past. I think we need to ban burqas. They've done it over in Europe, not in the UK, obviously. I think they did it in Sweden and one other country. Ban burqas, ban niqabs, which is similar, not quite the same thing as a hijab, as a burqa, but similar. Chador is another one. Covers most of their face. Ban them all. Deport every illegal alien. Deport every criminal immigrant and their families. Yeah, and their families. Even if their families have not engaged in the same behavior that they have, kick them all out. Kick them all out. Leftists like Mehdi Hassan claim that the things that I'm saying right now are Islamophobic. That implies that there is an irrational fear. Not implies, that says that there's an irrational fear. But they're telling you that they want to kill you. They're telling you that they want to enslave you. They're telling you that you either submit or pay a tax, the jizya. And then there's all the different ways that they are allowed to lie to advance the cause of Islam. And yeah, taqiyya, which I've talked about before, kitman, deceit by omission, tariya, deceit by ambiguity, taysir, darura, maruna. All of these are doctrines in the Quran laid out for them to deceive in order to advance the cause of Islam, in order to advance the caliphate. When they tell you who they are, believe them. And so this is not an irrational reaction by any stretch of the imagination. This is pattern recognition. This is me believing who they are when they tell you. And those the videos I played, those are not just random Muslims going off on some tangent. Those are the imams in the mosques that are teaching your neighbor. This is a dangerous game that we're playing. But let's take a step back. Let's take a step back. Back in, going over to Europe for a second, back in 1975, there were 8 mosques in France. It is now 2025, 50 years later. There are between 2,500 and 2,600 mosques in France. That is an over 30,000% increase in 50 years. That is insane. That is absolutely insane. Over in Germany, they banned an Islamic center because it had ties to Hezbollah. Austria, they have expelled imams for having ties to other terror groups. Between that, their death to America, death to the infidel chant, the public statements that I just played you, and that is only scratching the surface. I didn't have to look very hard to find them. And there are plenty more where that came from. This is all about conquest for them. This is about expanding the caliphate. And if this doesn't prove that to you, then nothing will. Nothing will. And you won't believe it until you're forced to pay a jizya and your wife is forced to wear a burqa. Or you're forced to convert to Islam or lose your head. Maybe then you'll believe. But by then, obviously, it'll be too late. And of course, we're not going to let that happen. Switzerland, they banned minarets. Those are the spires on top of mosques. They banned them. Austria closed 7 mosques, kicked out 60 plus imams. Germany raided 53 Hezbollah-linked sites. I mean, when things happen over there, it is only a matter of time. It is only a matter of time before it happens here. And we're seeing a lot of that happen here now. I mean, Epic City. I played you the dude in Florida who's buying up churches and turning them into mosques. So when I say it's time to ban mosques and burqas and all the rest of it, it's not paranoia. It's not paranoia. It's, like I said, it's pattern recognition, and it's wanting to avoid what's happening in the UK right now. There are some countries over there in Europe, like I mentioned, who are trying to combat it. But it took them entirely too long. The extreme rhetoric that I played you is not Those dudes are not fringe. They're not fringe. As I said, those are the people who are teaching Islamic law to your Muslim neighbor. And we had that one guy who talked about calling Jews pigs and monkeys. It's, as he said, it's dehumanizing. And once you get to the point where you don't think of someone as human, it is much easier to kill them. Just look at the abortion industry. They have everyone convinced that those babies are not human beings. They have everyone convinced that they're just a clump of cells. So it's very easy to just to kill them in the womb. What a lot of these people are doing is unfortunately is legal, but it is also very ideological and political. And then we can't forget that they are very well funded from Islamic kingdoms like Saudi Arabia and other well-funded countries like Turkey and Jordan, Qatar. I talked about that a few shows ago with that ridiculous partnership that the DoD has with Qatar, and that building a base, a facility on one of our bases, which is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Just we gotta cut this out. This is suicidal behavior. This is suicidal behavior. Plain and simple. Now let's imagine, if you will, and I can only imagine what people are going to say who hear what I'm saying right now. But imagine if a Christian pastor had said exactly what these Muslims were saying, but in the opposite direction. The American Pravda would be losing their minds. They would be apoplectic about it. And they would be calling to ban Christianity. Call me a liar. You know I'm not. And if the so-called peaceful Muslims outnumber the radicals, where are they? Why do we keep hearing about the radicals? Why are the radicals the ones that keep killing everyone? They're killing the peaceful ones and anyone else who gets in their way. This is why, and I know that this is I'm sure I'm gonna catch a lot of flack for this too, but this is why, and I've said this on social media, and you probably, if you follow me, you probably know what I'm about to say. This is why we need a constitutional amendment to ban Muslims from holding any public office. State, county, local, federal, every level. We cannot allow them to have any more power than they already do. Look at Michigan. Look at Dearborn. We, as I said, it's suicidal behavior to continue to allow this. Freedom of religion. And I believe that when they put that in the Constitution, especially considering what they were dealing with in terms of the Barbary pirates and all of the slavery that the slaves that the Muslims were taking. I believe that when they put that in there, they had absolutely no idea that they had no inkling that there would ever be an Islamic invasion in this country. It probably just didn't even register. They didn't. But I bet if they had known, they would have made some sort of arrangement to keep this from happening. Am I being mean and judgmental? No, I'm just being practical. I want to preserve what we have in this country. And if we don't do something about this Islamic invasion, if we don't do something now, we're going to have to do something later. All right. I think I have exhausted that topic for the time being, but I mean, as long as it's still around, we're going to keep talking about it. But I want to get into something else that I want to continue a topic that I talked about last week, but there was so much that I didn't get a chance to get to everything that I wanted to get to. I almost never get to everything I want to get to. But I want to continue this discussion we were having about leftist violence and how the going back to the No Kings rally, and there's been a few things, a few instances since then, and we'll probably play a few of those, but there was one that I just heard about today as I was preparing, doing my last minute preparation for the show, and I came across this little gem, and I want you all to listen to this, and then we'll discuss it.
Work. I'm from the hood, okay? So when a bully comes, like, if there are no rules, you literally have to figure it out. So Donald Trump has changed things, and people trying to do what's always been done is not going to work. And I think that's why Democrats are losing black people. That's why they're losing poor people, because poor people, all they want is for us to fight. So if you hit me in my face, I'm not going to punch you back in your face. I'm going to go across your neck, because.
Wow. And look at the reaction from the host. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You punch me in the face, I'm going to go across.
We can go back and forth fighting each other's faces. You've got to hit hard enough where they won't come back. And so, yeah, for the same way I went to New York and spoke with Governor Kathy Hochul and said, if they're going to try to wipe us out in Texas, we need to wipe out every Republican in New York, in California, in Illinois. So no one can make me feel bad about fighting for the people that I represent.
Wow. And yet they will insist that the violence only comes from the right. They will insist that the things that they say have no bearing on the violence that we're seeing from them. It had no bearing on the attempts on President Trump's life. It had no bearing on the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It had no bearing on the sniper who attacked the ICE facility in Dallas. It has this violent rhetoric has no bearing on any of that. And it's all coming from the left, according to these people, all coming from the right, according to these people. I am I am way behind on the chat, so let's take a look. We got Jersey Joe in chat. Hey Joe, nice to see you. Rowdy Rick, thanks for being here. We got Sackhead Sean. We got the Queen Bee. And I think I thought I saw BZ, but maybe I missed it. But thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. So yeah, we got according to them, the violence is all coming from the left. But you just heard this woman, Jolanda Jones, running for a U.S. House seat out of Texas. I don't know if she's trying to replace Jasmine Crockett, who's about to lose her seat or what, but I mean, what is wrong with these people? And again, the host said absolutely nothing. And so as long as they get no pushback, they're just going to keep spewing this stuff. And from what I read, because of this type of thing, threats against elected officials in both parties has gone through the roof. Gone through the roof. When left-wing people continually frame political violence as coming from the right, and when they have the monopoly on the media, because I mean, the right has alternative media. We have some great outlets, but it doesn't have the reach that the American Pravda does with the Communist News Network and MSLSD and the Alphabet networks and all the rest of it. And then let's not forget Hollywood and all of the propaganda that they get to spread. Let me go back to some of the No King stuff, because I mean, stuff just keeps coming out. It's just like a continuous flow of stuff from, and this was almost a week ago now. This is one that I really wanted to show you guys the last time, but I didn't get to it. But this is another one that pretty well encapsulates the left's mindset on this.
Who are you gonna kill?
Nazis.
Who do you define as a Nazi?
What do you mean? It's pretty.
In this context, who's a Nazi?
Stephen Miller's a Nazi.
So you're gonna kill Stephen Miller?
If I had the chance, yeah, I would.
I don't know if that's something I'd say on camera, bro.
Wow. Stephen Miller, who is Jewish, by the way, calling him a Nazi and saying that you would kill him if you had the chance. And just as casual as he wanted. Just, yeah, absolutely. I'd kill him. What? What is that? It's sad is what it is. And it's terrifying that these people have just the stones to say stuff like this. And we see what it leads to. There was another one. Yes, let's take a look at this.
You gotta grab a gun. We gotta turn around the guns on this fascist system. These ICE agents gotta get shot and wiped out. The state machinery, that's a full display right there, has to get wiped out. You gotta grab a gun.
Wow.
We got
How this guy's not in jail, and maybe he is, but how he's not in jail for that, I have no idea. How he didn't get scooped up right then and there is beyond me. Let's take a look at some of these chats. Yeah, they don't hide their intent. They don't hide their intent. And that's why the title of this show was Jihad by Another Name. Same zeal, different dogma. They have a religious zeal for their side, for their ideology. And that's why they are so attracted to Islam and Palestine. And that's why they're so supportive of it, because they're kindred spirits. Even though the Islamists would behead them in a heartbeat if they don't convert. And then again, some of these leftists probably would, honestly. These people are, like I said, when they tell you who they are, believe them. When they tell you who they are, believe them. And the American Pravda just goes right along with it. I think there was one more. You know what? Never mind. You get the idea. You get the idea. Actually, I do want to show you this because Mike Lee, he put together a thread of a lot of the violent rhetoric and signs from the No Kings rally. And this one stood out to me. This one really stood out to me. I wish he hadn't turned his head. Wishing death on the President of the United States. I mean, what do you do with that? This is why I have said on numerous occasions, you can't coexist with people who want you dead. There can be no unity with people who want you dead. And the evidence that they want us dead is all over the place. The Muslims want us dead if we're not paying their jizya tax. The left wants us dead if we don't agree with them. So, as I said, there can be no unity with these people, none whatsoever. All right. I want to get a word in from our sponsor before we move on, because there's a few other things I want to get to. But the sponsor for today's show is Patriot Mobile. And now, more than ever, your vote it's simply not enough. It's not enough. You need to make sure that your resources go to companies that fight for what you believe in. And that's why we switched to Patriot Mobile, America's only Christian conservative wireless carrier. They don't just talk about the values they support, they back it up. A portion of every dollar that you spend with them goes to pro-life, pro-family, and pro-freedom organizations. They fight against human trafficking. They put their money where their mouth is against human trafficking, against abortion. Any conservative cause they are supporting. So right now you can get a free month of service when you go to patriotmobile.com and use promo code Jackson, or call 972-PATRIOT and use promo code Jackson. Defend freedom with every call, every text, every month. Switch to patriotmobile.com today. All right, y'all. I am Big E, and you are watching or listening to the Mission Ready Men briefing right here on the SHR Media Network, where you can catch my good friend Sackhead Sean, who's in the chat with the Edge of Liberty every Monday and Wednesday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. The Reaver of Common Sense with Jersey Joe every Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Pacific. He produced a great piece of content that I strongly encourage you to check out. Actually, there's a couple, actually. Let me see if I can pull them up real quick. Because, yeah, he did this great video about the meaning of militia and what the founders really meant, something that I have talked about many times. And he put a really good piece together, so check that out. The meaning of militia, what the founders really meant, on the SHR YouTube channel. But yeah, we got Jersey Joe every Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And BZ with the Berserk Bobcat Saloon every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, which means he will be on tonight. So be sure to like and subscribe to all of those great shows. Subscribe to the channel, and pray that we continue to have a breakthrough. I mean, we've increased our subscriptions quite a bit, and I am so thankful to you guys for doing that, for spreading the word. We need you to continue to do that, continue to spread the word, continue to pray for us, and because we want to reach as many people as we possibly can. All right, now back to our regularly scheduled programming. And I don't know if you heard about this. You may not have if you don't follow the WNBA. I don't, but I happen to follow some people who brought this to the forefront, and I want to take a look at it. And I thought I had it queued up, but I don't see it. So give me a second here. But the WNBA, I don't watch. Not many people do watch the WNBA. Oh, you know what? I think I posted it, actually. I did. So bear with me. Yeah. The WNBA has completely lost their minds, lost their relevance. And what they did, and it's been a while now, and so because it's been a while, I'm just now hearing about it because, like I said, I don't watch the WNBA. But they had someone do a halftime show. Someone by the name of Genderless Ren danced in one of their halftime shows, I think about a month and a half ago now. And it's really sad that this happened that long ago and we're just now hearing about it. I mean, that just goes to show you how irrelevant the WNBA is. But this is relevant because Genderless Ren is 8. Yeah, is 8. It is 8 years old. This is 100% childhood. And we're going to get that off the screen. But this is part of the dance. I mean, just absolutely sickening. Absolutely sickening. An 8-year-old boy in fake lashes, a mini skirt. And you saw in that one picture how provocative, what kind of provocative pose he was striking there. This is demonic. This is degenerate. This is just absolutely sickening. And this kid is Japanese, and so I don't think that our authorities can really do anything at this point. Ever since this dropped, his Instagram profile has been pulled down, and thankfully he's nowhere to be found anymore, and I hope it stays that way. But the crowd, as you can see, such as it was applauding, and they thought this was progress. But it's perversion. It's sexual exploitation of an 8-year-old boy. And I'd say, I wonder where his father is, but these days, the fathers are just as degenerate as these sicko mothers are who are doing this to their kids. It's just, Sackhead Sean says, child abuse, end of story. And you are absolutely right. This kid is 8 years old. He's in the 3rd grade, most likely. So when he's supposed to be, I don't know, playing t-ball, collecting Pokemon cards, running around in the dirt, he is instead parading around in fake lashes and press-on nails with a purse, and basically just being paraded around for perverts to ogle. And I don't even want to get into what else could be going on there, but just An 8-year-old does not consider themselves genderless. An 8-year-old doesn't even know what gender is, or at least shouldn't. That is the sickness of the parents being projected onto this kid. This has gone from family-friendly, entertaining halftime shows at these events to toddler drag time. It's disgusting. I mean, there are very few other words to describe it that I haven't already used. Exploitation, disgusting, child abuse, demonic. That probably about covers it. And this kid is just on display for the perverts who think this is great. And that's sad. That is and this is indicative of a larger issue of the entertainment industry sexualizing these kids and turning them into their mascots for sexual identity. And that's sick. It doesn't get much sicker than that. These people, the same people who applaud this, who celebrate this, will lose their minds if a kid brings a Bible to school, will lose their minds if a teacher wants to teach them the 10 Commandments in school, will absolutely go apoplectic if a kid talks to another one about Jesus. Lose their minds. But this is perfectly acceptable. This is absolute bizarro, upside down world. You can't say Merry Christmas. Well, you can now, but for a while you couldn't say Merry Christmas. But you can say you're genderless and nobody bats an eye. Even when you're 8. The fact that they're doing this to this kid is just it's evil. There's another word I hadn't used yet. Evil. It absolutely is. Genesis 1:27 says, God created man in his own image, and in the image of God, he created him, male and female, he created them. There's no genderless. There's no such thing as trans. They're projecting their mental illness onto this kid. And the damage that they're doing to him at this point, it may not be irreversible yet, but they are fast approaching that. We used to protect innocence. What happened? What happened to protecting the innocence of these kids? And now we got these sick freaks who want to market it. Let me know if you got that reference. If you did, we can be friends. You're my people. But the WNBA, getting back to them who sanctioned this madness, the WNBA is desperate for followers, desperate for credibility. And they just ensured that no sane parent would ever bring their kids to a game. Now, there may be some degenerates who would want to see something like this happen again, that might. But they are already hurting. They are already dealing with empty arenas. And now they pull this. When we start celebrating this type of degeneracy and confusion in kids, it's not progress. It's not progress at all. What we're seeing is collapse in real time. All right, y'all. Let's move on, because that's depressing. So Sackhead Sean talked about this on his show last night, but I got a few things I want to tack on to that, and I'm talking about the pearl clutching that the left is doing about President Trump's ballroom expansion on the east wing of the White House. It's going to be a 90,000 square foot ballroom, and it makes perfect sense when you look at other countries that host state dinners and things like that, and it's all very, very opulent. Why wouldn't we want to compete with that? Why wouldn't we want to not just compete, but make it something that those other countries aspire to, instead of us looking at those other countries and saying, hey, we should be doing something like that? The White House is a symbol of the greatest country in the world. It is the base of operations for the leader of the free world. And so I don't really have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it at all. And I do understand people who say that for this $250 million project, we could be doing this, we could be doing that, whatever. But it's private funds, it's not taxpayer funded. So I got no problem with it. I got no problem with it whatsoever. But the left is, as I said, clutching their pearls over this, saying that he's destroying the east wing of the White House. He's whatever they're saying it just doesn't make any sense. They're just mad because reasons. Honestly, anything they can possibly find to be mad at the president about, they're going to find and they're going to do. But they're circulating these pictures of bulldozers and excavators demolishing the facade of the East Wing, and I don't. They seem to forget. They seem to forget history, because the White House is has constantly been under construction. Every president, save for a few, has done something to the White House. Every president. There wasn't always a West Wing. Teddy Roosevelt built the original West Wing and moved the president's working office into the West Wing from the living quarters. William Howard Taft actually built the first Oval Office in the West Wing. And then after a fire, Herbert Hoover rebuilt it. And then Franklin Delano Roosevelt redesigned it at great expense. And then, of course, the entire White House was rebuilt under Harry Truman. And then Barack Obama. Barack Obama during, technically it may not have been a recession, but I remember the Obama years and the economy was terrible. And he built basketball courts. Somebody built a bowling alley, tennis court. I mean, you name it, it's been done. But now all of a sudden, because President Trump has something he wants to do, now all of a sudden it's a problem. And he's not even using taxpayer funds to do it. And we don't even have to get into, but we're going to, what Bill Clinton did in the Oval Office. And we'll just leave that. We'll just leave that there. The left just can't, they just can't give, they just can't give the president any win. I mean, they're not even, for the most part, celebrating the fact that he got a peace deal done in the Middle East between Israel and Hamas. I know that's probably not going to last, but he did more than any other president up to this point has ever done. So there's that. And they're saying that he's disrespecting the White House, and we just talked about Bill Clinton. If we're going to get into disrespecting the White House, then we have to talk about Joe Biden. We have to, because if anyone disrespected the White House in any way, in any serious way, it was Joe Biden. And I'm referring to Pride Month in June of 2023. And there are a couple of things that we can get into, and I'm gonna show you here real quick, and then we'll get into that. They painted the pillars of the White House in rainbow colors. Oh, wow, I had that. My bad, I had that. You know what, let's, sorry about that. Let's do that again. So like I was saying, they painted the pillars of the White House in the colors of the rainbow. So we have that. But then we have this. Yeah, remember this?
Are we topless at the White House?
Yes, you are. And that's enough of that. But that did more to disrespect the White House than anything. I mean, I think that did more to disrespect the White House than what even Bill Clinton did. And at least Bill Clinton had the decency to do it in somewhat private. But that was on public display for the entire world to see. And how do you think countries around the world reacted to that? But building a ballroom to host events is disrespectful, and destroying the facade of the East Wing is disrespectful. Come on, get out of here. Miss me with that. President Trump's ballroom expansion. You said, this is Sackhead Sean in the chat, you said Bill Clinton at least had decency. Is insanely wild for the comparison, and you aren't even wrong. As I was saying it, I was wondering if anybody was gonna pick up on that, but yeah. That's saying something. That is saying something. So yeah, I have no problem with this ballroom expansion. I think it's a good thing. I think when it's done, it will be something that future presidents are going to make use of extensively. Somebody will probably rename it once if a leftist ever gets back in there, they will rename it, because it'll probably be the Trump ballroom, and they'll strip it of that eventually, I'm sure. But regardless, I think it's something that is overdue, frankly. I'm actually kind of surprised there hasn't been a ballroom added to the White House. And I guarantee you that if Joe Biden had suggested it and tried to do it, that we wouldn't be hearing a peep. Not a peep out of these leftists. All right, one last thing I want to get to. Well, there's a few things I want to get to, but I don't know if I'm going to have time. I came across this story the other day. Do you remember a movie that I really enjoy watching is iRobot? And despite the fact that Will Smith is in it, and if you haven't seen it or don't remember, it's a movie where the machines, the helpful machines, ended up getting a little bit too helpful. And there is a scene in that movie where Will Smith gets in his vehicle. I guess he punches in a destination, or maybe he says it. I can't remember exactly. It's been a while since I've seen it. But then he goes to sleep, and the car drives itself. GM and Google just announced that they are going to put AI into vehicles starting in 2026. That will basically allow your vehicle to self-drive. That's going to be a hard pass. That is a recipe for disaster. GM says that in 2026, their vehicles will have Gemini built in. It's Google's answer to ChatGPT. And in 2028, their luxury models, like the Cadillac, will have eyes-off driving, which means the driver, such as they would be at this point, could go to sleep, could play on their laptop, play on their phone, whatever. And the car will do all the heavy lifting. No. I can't believe we're even discussing this. I can't believe we're even discussing this. And this is from the company that not too long ago recalled 20 million vehicles for airbag issues. And we're going to trust, leaving aside the fact that it's Google AI, but we're going to trust AI to handle it? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think is useful in certain circumstances. Driving your vehicle while you sleep is absolutely not one of them. No, no, no. And not to mention, I mean, we already try to turn off our tracking on our Google phones. And we're going to have Google AI tracking where you go in your vehicle, not just your phone. I thought we were trying to get away from that kind of madness. I thought we were trying to get away from that kind of surveillance. And now, and people are going to line up for this. Not me. Absolutely not. Mercedes is going to do the same thing with ChatGPT. Tesla obviously has Grok. This is, I mean, iRobot, Terminator, Skynet, and I just saw I didn't get a chance to read it, but I saw a headline on Citizen Free Press that says, let me see if I can. Steve Wozniak and Richard Branson are urging a banning of AI superintelligence. And I haven't read the story, so I'm not exactly sure what they mean by that, but it sounds like a good idea to me. Sounds like a really good idea to me. And didn't we just have not too long ago robo-taxis that were crashing all over the place? And we think that they've made enough advancements now that everything's just going to be hunky-dory? Really? Jersey Joe says not just no, but hell no. And Sackhead Sean says, sadly, all that stuff is already there, and because it's private companies, most people don't hesitate. But almost all new cars have some. Yeah, I know. I get that. I get that. But it's there. We We know, but it's not. I don't think it's the same threat level that this could be, especially when you factor in the eyes off driving. Nah, I'm good. I am all set. But you know what the problem is going to be? The problem is going to be people like us are going to stay on these older vehicles. People like us who can do the maintenance on them and fix them ourselves. Eventually, it's going to get to the point where they are going to ban those vehicles for XYZ reasons, emissions, whatever the case may be, because they want to track you. They want to be able to turn your vehicle off if you do something they don't like. And people like us who can do these things, who are independent enough to be able to do these things, they don't like that. They don't like that at all. GM calls this, GM calls it innovation. I call it Act 1. Act 1 of I, Robot, the sequel. And as enjoyable as that movie was 15, 20 years ago, whenever it was, I am not interested in an active role in the sequel. Not even a little bit. So if you are, I'll say, daring enough to get one of these vehicles, if it starts asking you existential questions, if it starts refusing to do what you tell it, you paid extra for it. Just like New York and Mamdani, you get what you pay for. You get the vehicle you deserve. Sorry, not sorry. All right, y'all. There were a few other things I wanted to get to, but I do not have the time. I am completely out of time at this point. Dave, what are you doing, Dave? Yeah, I get that reference. And yes, they will just make the parts impossible to find. Yep. Yep, absolutely. They are going to make it increasingly difficult to stay off the grid, basically, or to minimize your exposure to the grid. Most of us can't stay completely off the grid, unfortunately. But anyway, folks, that is all I got for you. I will keep trying to make each show better than the last. If any of what I said hit home, please take a second to like and subscribe and share it with everyone that you know. We are not just here to opine. We are not just here to run our mouths, but we are here to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ and carry the banner of faith, freedom, and hope for future generations. And if you want some cool gear, as I said at the top of the show, head over to missionreadymen.com, click Shop 7 Armors, and check out all the great designs that we have over there that are about bold faith, true grit, and unapologetic patriotism. And as always, when seconds count, the police are only minutes away, but the Lord is right there with you. So keep your prayers going up and your head on a swivel. God bless.